Hello there, thanks for tuning in. This week on Camposol Through Time, we're looking at how agriculture has shaped the landscape and the development of this very dry area of Spain. So what evidence of this rich and diverse farming history can we find right here on Camposol? Let's find out. I'm joined today by Camposol TV's very own historian and time traveller, Antonio Hernandez Benitez. Antonio, how you doing?
Fine.
Nice to see you. You've brought in lots of things again, which we're going to talk about in a minute. With the agriculture around the area, we can see pretty diverse agriculture. There's lots of areas around Camposol that are not used. How far does agriculture go back around this area?
Well, probably from the beginning of the agriculture in the history of Spain, around 3,000 years ago, or something like that, because there were already different groups living in Mazarrón, especially in Nuevo or the port as well. So probably around this area, we couldn't find like the ruins or the remains of something like that old, but for sure there were someone probably living in this area.
And they're actually, instead they moved from being sort of hunter-gatherers into being taking advantage of the land itself and growing their own crops. And
Exactly.
Okay, this is what, 3,000 years ago-ish, something
Probably.
like that. And over the time, it's changed a lot, but there's quite a lot of similarities still, isn't there?
Yeah, basically, what we call the classical agriculture around here probably started officially like in the Roman times. Is when the industry of the olive oil started to be improved around this area, and continues until the 50s, really, in the 20th century. What I mean is like they used to have like a dry agriculture, what we call dry agriculture, which is an agriculture without irrigation.
Right.
We don't have the irrigation system until the 50s. It's when we got the water around
So
here.
they just had to rely on rainfall.
Exactly.
Yeah, because the Rambler that goes past Camposol goes through between B and C. That doesn't run wet all year round, does it? It's only when there's floods.
Exactly. Like majority of the Ramblas in Murcia region, they will only have water when you have plenty of rain. Okay, so it's not a proper river.
So what sort of crops would they have been growing back in Roman times, say, for instance? Is it just olive?
No, as well, then think about, they used to have like different things they used to grow for the community and as well for the families, like for instance cereals to make especially bread, which was the most common food until the 20th century of the population in the area. Carob, they used to have plenty of carob trees as well for animal food.
These are the trees with the long sort of like green beans on them that turn dark.
Exactly.
And the beans are those, you say that's animal food, is it? Can it be
Majority.
used for human consumption as well?
As well, then you can use like different products they can be made, but mainly was for animals because it's easier to store as well and last a long time. Okay.
Yeah.
Almond trees as well, plenty of almonds they used to have, and vineyards to produce wine.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. The Romans were known for that. But wine itself is quite important for other reasons as well, isn't it? Because just to drink wine. I mean, were they drinking a lot of wine in those days?
In those days, yes. They used to, there is an average of consumption of wine in Spain. It was around, especially in the south of Spain, it was nearly 2 liters per person per day. And this is because, mainly because of the quality of the water. Think about in this area, if you store the water from the rain and it's going to be there for 3-4 months, the quality is going to be very bad. Okay, so you need something to replace this water somehow. The same as for instance, in United Kingdom, it was the beer, as well because it contains alcohol and as well is helping somehow to.
So in the fermentation process, it kills the bugs and you're left with a delightful drink.
Exactly.
So vineyards were a lot more present than they are now.
Exactly. Nowadays there are nearly no vineyards around Camposol. Okay, but if we go back, like for instance, 100 years ago, there will be a lot more. Well, what I mean is like probably there will be even big areas with plenty of vineyards because it's easy to grow. Okay, especially the monastrell grape, which is a grape which is adapted into this weather.
Right.
Okay,
so it doesn't need a lot of water.
Exactly. And actually contains plenty of sugar, which helping in the fermentation with a lot of alcohol as well.
Yeah, so it kind of moved away from grapes when we could get clean water. It's a natural sort of evolution. And what else do they grow then? What else are they growing? They've got olives, they've got carobs.
Almonds.
Almonds, of course. So many almonds around these days. What were they doing with the almonds themselves?
Well, the majority nowadays, majority of the almonds we use it for, especially to produce some kind of sweet things, especially for Christmas. Traditionally, we have as well different sweets like we call it turron. They are made mainly with almonds. Okay, so they used to use it for that reason. Okay, and if they were having like water, some kind of water for a little bit of irrigation, they used to grow peppers, round peppers. Still in El Paredón, for instance, very important the agriculture of the peppers because they can make paprika with that.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Which is very important, especially for different process with the food. You know, like for instance, for sure you know about chorizo. Okay, contains plenty of paprika as well.
And that actually gives it a great flavour, but obviously the more spices and things, the longer it lasts as well, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, we mentioned irrigation earlier about the water that sort of, it comes and goes and that's it. So water is very valuable.
Exactly.
Irrigation these days is everywhere, but it wasn't then. So how did people get the water to where they wanted it?
Basically, because they used to think about El Saladillo as well, is an area where the quality of the water is very bad even nowadays because of the thermal water or hot springs that there is underneath. Okay, so people, they have to rely mainly on the water of the rain. So they used to have different water containers. Traditionally, there is one which is round, okay, that you can see still in the villages. Every single house they used to have at least one. Okay, this is called aljibe, it's an Arabic word, and basically it's to store the water of the rain. Okay, and then they used to have different ones, the longer ones as well, which is basically based on the Roman water reservoirs. Okay, which as well they used to store. Like
I think there's one of those in Fuente Alamo, sort of rounded, but like you say, long.
Long, yeah. Exactly. I mean, there is actually in B sector. Actually, there are the ruins of one of those, which is like a long square, something like that. And for sure there will be. I mean, there were many, not only for humans as well, to store water for animals as well.
Now you bought some bits and bobs with you, as usual. This, you know, I can't ignore this.
Okay.
This was a water carrier, yeah?
Exactly.
Okay, unusual shape. How would this have been used? Would it have been used to irrigate the fields, or is this in the house?
Basically, this was for the house. Okay, they used to fill with water. Okay, and they used to transport as well as there is a statue in Mojácar, not far from here, where there is a lady transporting this on the head. Okay, actually they used to go to the fountain and fill it up and then take it home. Okay. As well, they used to transport not only have it on the head. I mean, they used to have like different structures for the donkeys where they used to transport.
Oh, so the hoops would be around the side, you just pop it in there. That's the shape of it, I suppose.
Exactly. And as well, they used to have like different structures where they used to put it in the house as well. Normally, they were like for 2 or 3, okay, and they used to store the water.
Would this be drinking water or cooking water?
Drinking water. And as well for cooking, obviously.
Okay. Now, these look like parts of that, but in agriculture, obviously there's lots of things you can find around Camposol with regards to old bits of pot. I've found something a bit La Penia myself. Don't know what it is, but I'll let you have a look at it so you can tell me. But what have we got here?
Okay. Those are actually, I found it on B sector, actually, all of them. Okay. This actually is the bottom of a water container.
Okay, so it sits like that.
As you can see, it's very heavy. It's heavier than this, and it can be like the bottom. So it can be like somehow like 3 times the size of this water container.
So this shape, but a lot bigger.
Exactly.
Okay, it's got like grooves in it as well.
Exactly, because it's handmade. So you can see like these are made with the fingers, as well as here inside.
It's the same on that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's actually somebody's finger that's made that mark.
Exactly.
Way back when. Do we know how old these are?
No, I don't know, but probably I will say for sure over 100 years old. for sure.
This one at the front here is got a bit more detailing on it.
Exactly. This, I think, is even older. It can be from medieval times, probably, because it looked like an Arabic decoration or Muslim decoration.
So this is Moorish influence.
I think so, yes.
Yeah. And it's also a lot more delicate, the pot as well.
Exactly.
It's not as heavy duty.
Because basically this is the top, actually the top of the container.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's why it's lighter.
Yeah.
Okay. And as you can see on the decoration, I think it was something very valuable, probably for the family. It's not something practical like this shape.
It's also got a bigger diameter. That would have been a lot bigger pot, wouldn't it?
Exactly.
You can see that.
There were different sizes.
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah. But that's so Moorish. You're looking at 815,
Something like that.
1500 years. No, 1200 years ago, something like that.
See, something like that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, fabulous. That is. I like that. Now, this is for carrying water in the house. They didn't irrigate the land at all, did they?
No, not really, because I mean, think about the dry agriculture. You need a longer or a bigger size of agriculture than now. Okay, for instance, like if you have an almond tree, if you have a water system, probably you will collect 30 kilos of almonds. Okay, but without irrigation, you will collect probably 3 or 5 kilos of almonds, or 10. What I mean is like a lot less.
So you need a lot more trees.
A lot more trees, exactly. So when you have like an area with, for instance, 1,000 trees, well, to irrigate the 1,000 trees with small containers, it's very difficult, or nearly impossible. Okay, that's why like they didn't have proper irrigation until the 50s.
Well, they've always taken advantage of the land, everyone all over the world, wherever you are, and you make the most of it. And obviously, it's very, very dry here, but there are still sources of water in the springs that we spoke about before. But that's more for domestic use, is it?
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's where the farms are always like at the edge of the hills where the spring water was.
Exactly. And think about those spring water. It doesn't mean that it will be the spring during the all year round. Majority, they used to be running, this water, you can see it running, mainly when it was like rains, for instance, now. No? Like we have plenty of rain, so there was a spring going on, okay? But then in summer, it was dry. So that's why they need to store the water as much as they can, okay? And they need to save it, so.
And it hasn't changed a lot over the time, has it? Throughout the years, they've done this forever, and they still do it now, saving water, of course.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's obviously very important. Thanks very much for coming in today. We're going to talk more about agriculture in the next episode, and thank you very much. Thanks for tuning in. We'll speak to you next time, same time next week on Camposol Through Time to find out more. Thanks very much for watching. Thank you, Antonio.